Other orifices you need to make sure are clean. This one right here, right next to that's your pilot jet right there. That's your main. This is for the enricher circuit or choke or whatever you want to call it. It's an enricher really. So when you pull the choke up, it opens the piston and it starts pulling fuel through here. The enricher doesn't work on, you need to check these. You just run a jet drill down through them. And you can blow through them too to make sure that it's clear. It's right there. You're just going to blow through it or run your cleaner down through there. And if you look right, so you can blow through that orifice, and when you do, you can, if you fill your enricher up right there and blow down through the little orifice down the center there, and you should see carb cleaner coming out of this jet right down here. That's the one we just cleaned out. So if this is blocked and you pull the enricher out and the enricher doesn't work, usually it's because this orifice right here wasn't cleaned. Very simple process. If you have a sonic cleaner, it works good at cleaning all that stuff out, along with some jet drills to help. A little carb cleaner jet orifice drills. All right, we need to make sure that the jets are actually cleaned through, so I usually take some carb cleaner and blow through them. You can see the stream coming out is good. This is the number 45 I'm putting back in this carburetor. Using my handy dandy little jet screwdriver. I'm going to put it in there, give it a good twist, make sure it's tight. You don't need to really ream on it, just make sure it's tight. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set the float needle in there to set the float height. So you've just got a little tang on your float here. There's a really small spring on the top of it. You see the spring? You see the little spring? That little spring just fits over that tab. And then we're just going to set it down in the needle there, or in the body. Give it a little jiggle, helps. Okay, if you notice that the pin's in there, our float is extremely low. So we're going to need to adjust that out. It should be about 425 thousandths. It's actually got a range like 413 to 470 or something like that. So we're going to set it about 450 up. So basically it needs to be down here somewhere. So right now, if you use that, the float's going to shut off. It isn't going to have enough fuel in it. So that'd be a low fuel level in the bowl. The higher it is, or the lower the number, the more fuel that goes in there. So it's extremely high right now. So I'm just going to take my little screwdriver and bend the tab. So what we're doing is we're going to bend this tab right here. So it actually needs to come this way up. Okay, so that's still too high right there. Need to bend it a little bit more. That's about still way too high. What you want when you're checking it, that little bit of movement there, that's your little piston pin on top of the float needle. You don't want it depressed any. So you kind of hold the carb about a 45-degree angle and measure it, and you can see how far off it is right there. Let's bend it a little bit more. Almost. We're still off a little bit. All right, let's check that. That looks pretty good right there. And I'm going to check it on both sides. And since we have a range of, I'll put a note of the procedure in the video here somewhere. I've got a couple of clips I can put in there of a chart that actually shows what numbers are supposed to be. But that's it for the float. That looks pretty good to me. Now, what happens if your float's too high? As far as this way, if it's too high, say it, you set it right there, which is going to be too high. It can actually flood like that. It'll give a rich condition. Versus if the float's too low, say it's like right there, it's going to give a lean condition because there isn't enough fuel in the bowl. Go ahead and get ready to stick this thing back together. At least put the float bowl on it. I've already got my 185 main in there, or actually 186 that I drilled out. Got a 45 intermediate. Still got to put my air fuel screw in there. I've got a nice adjustable one to put in there. We're going to go ahead and install our air fuel screw here. This one's a nice knurled, easy to get to, no need for a screwdriver. So you've got a spring that comes with it. The spring's going to go on there first. And then there's a little washer. And then you've got a little teeny O-ring that goes in there. That's going to go on there last. And you need to make sure that when you get the old one out, that you get the spring out, the old washer and the old O-ring. You can usually blow it out. If it doesn't come out, just use a little pick, try and get them out of there. So it just goes in the carb there. And we're just going to screw it all the way in until it seats lightly. And then back it out, probably 3 turns to start with, or I'll start with 3 turns and go from there. It's much nicer when it's on the carb. You can, no screwdriver, you just reach up under there and you give it a little tweak. And there's a full video on setting perfect air fuel mixture. I'll link that, and I'll link the video for that to this. Okay, I was just putting the float bowl screws. I ordered some new ones. The ones I had were just a little bit too short. I think those were M4 by 0.70 by 12s. And they were the black oxide coated ones. So I went ahead and splurged and got a bucket full of these stainless ones from Amazon. Cause good luck finding them local, unless you're lucky. But yeah, M4, these are 14s, so they'll work. They fit in there perfect. So whenever you're using stainless, put a little never seize on them when you're going into aluminum or dissimilar metals. Keeps them from galling. And when you tighten these things down, these float bowl screws or any little screw, tight is tight. You don't need to really ream on them. I'm sure there's a torque, but I have no idea what it is. I'm sure somebody has a torque somewhere. All right, on these needles, this one's on the second clip down. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 positions. You need to be careful when you're taking this needle off. So somebody had this thing extremely lean, whoever had it, whatever carb it came out of. We're going to pop the clip off of here. And we're going to go 1, 1, 2, 3. So it's best to do this over something white so you don't lose this clip because they will go flying. All right, it's a bit fiddly, but we got it on there. We're on the 4th position down. That means it's raised the needle up, which is taking it out of the needle jet, which more fuel, so it's richer. And then what we're going to do here is if we need to add a clip, or actually I'm going to go ahead and add a shim anyway, just because I don't like having a clip riding directly up against something. So got our clip there, and we're going to slide that down in the needle, or down in the diaphragm, if I can get it lined up right. Okay, we're in there. We'll slide our spring seat in there. Let me zoom this thing out a little bit. Slide our seat out a little bit. And what we're going to have to do, if you notice that the needle's moving up and down a little bit. So normally what I do is take the spring seat back out, because I don't like the needle moving around. And then I'll push the needle back up slightly, and I'll pop a couple of shims on top of it, one at a time, just so the needle ain't moving around when it's all the way, slides all the way up. You don't need the needle moving up and down, because that's going to change the jetting. We've added one shim on there. Let's see how it does. It's perfect, one shim. We got no movement now. So that's good on that. It's just, you probably don't have to do that, but I do, because I've had some weird jetting stuff going on at different times on different bikes. And I can't say 100% that helped, but it sure didn't hurt anything. Now we're going to put our slide back in here. And got our spring we modified, the one we cut the 2 coils off of. Okay, let's go ahead and put our cap on for real this time. We're just gonna pop these screws in here. These are stainless too, because I really dig stainless. Make sure our cap isn't moving around here. It's got 4 little dimples in the cap, so it kind of sits down in some little grooves to let you know that you're lined up, or so that it's aligned. And these two, you don't really need to reef on these things. They really don't come loose. This top is just made out of plastic. And I have seen guys break them somehow. I don't know how they did it, but they did. Now it comes with shouldered bolts, but I think those were all stripped on this carb, or I had to drill them out or something. So we're just going back with these stainless ones. And of course, we have to put our throttle stop back on there. And that's our carburetor ready to go. Now, I will show you one more trick, but I'm not going to do it on here because I don't have any fuel hooked up to this carb. But there's one more trick about aligning the accelerator pump nozzle. Basically, you can move it because it's just wedged in there into the bowl. That when the throttle's all the way open, you can just use a clip or screwdriver or something to hold it open. And when you hit the throttle with gas in it, you want your gas stream out of the accelerator pump to be hitting directly on the needle. Kind of helps to atomize it a little bit instead of squirting down the side of the carb there. So it breaks the fuel stream up a little bit. So just point it towards it. You just take a pair of pliers, and you can move it fairly easily. Little pair of vice grips or something, and pliers, and just turn it until the stream is putting directly at the needle in the center, just to break up the air fuel, atomize the fuel a little bit better out of the pump. The only other thing I got to do is put the enricher cable back on here, and that carb's basically ready to go. Flow pole set's jetted the way I want it. Well, preliminary jetting. Can't say that that's where it's going to stay at, but that's where it is for now. So anyway, that's it for this carburetor. I think about all carbureted out after the past week. Ready to move on to something else. But stay tuned. We'll do more. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Trying to watch my language. I almost said a fantastic effing weekend, but so what? Anyway, you get the idea. Have a great weekend. Take care. Thanks.